Welcome in, everybody, and welcome to Northern Life here with Briggs and Ryan on this beautiful Monday afternoon. I am Hunter. Thank you for starting your week with us. It was a beautiful weekend overall. I got to go to a couple concerts this weekend. I was over at Metallica on Friday, and then to Creed on Saturday. It's my Scott Stapp impression. Can you take? Can we? Maybe I shouldn't do that because
you can do a tiny bit.
Can you take me higher? Oh,
Yeah, I think that part's okay. Now we have to stop. I can't possibly go any further.
News today.
That's how we should start our newscast.
Yeah.
Just singing every single
little bit.
We should ask him if we can just use it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure he's cool with it.
I'm sure he's an avid follower of Northern Life. I'm guessing.
isn't,
I would
right?
think. Come on.
But what does he say about the news today?
I just heard about the news today.
Oh.
You're right.
Yeah, so at the beginning, how appropriate would that be?
Oh my gosh, we're missing an opportunity here, folks.
I'm sure if we pay something, he'd let us use it.
If anybody knows their agent.
Give him a call.
Probably more than $25, right? Maybe a little more. I don't know.
Maybe a little more. Today on Northern Life, we're going to hear the story behind Minnesota's abandoned mine town, taking you to Taconite Harbor up the North Shore. We'll go back in time to the 1950s, hearing why the once bustling little area is now a ghost town.
Oh, that's neat. And then later, we're going to highlight a trailblazing Minnesota center that is making beekeeping accessible for everybody, teaching adults with disabilities to care for those bees. Very cool. But guess what, you guys? We are just a few days away now from the start of the Minnesota State Fair. Snuck up, as does most things during the summer. Summer goes by so quick, right? Even though the great get-together starts on Thursday this week, the fairgrounds are already full as vendors and State Fair employees have been busy preparing for the crowds. The State Fair is also celebrating new food and drinks this year and exhibits too. So before you go, there's a new official that can help you plan your trip too. Take a look at this.
Oh, sorry, it's just an app.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, a new official app. I was ready for a soundbite.
I missed the word app in the prompter. There's a new app on your phone.
A new official app. We did talk about that. I should have known.
That's all right.
But the app, that's handy because when we talked about it, it said it's kind of like maps everything out, shows you where to find specific foods, I believe, if you want to check that out too.
Yeah.
A list of events. You know, those concerts are popular, so very cool.
It's just such a big space, too. I get overwhelmed with the State Fair because there's so many people, strollers, a lot of strollers.
A lot of strollers.
We know you don't like the strollers.
A lot of cats, probably.
The heat sometimes. It's a little overwhelming for me. So if I had an app, which you can download on the Google or Apple App Store.
Sure.
Whatever it's called. It'll help you guide you through your experience for people like me.
Are either of you guys going?
I try to go once every like 2 or 3 years. There's so many people down there, but it's so much fun. It's worth it once I get down there. Like I'm driving down, I'm like, oh, there's gonna be so many people, and then I get in the gates, and I'm like, look at all the food and all the fun and the pigs, the hogs.
I was just gonna say, I love the pigs. The little baby pigs, they're born right there. Like, what more could you want?
Little
Are you going?
oink.
I probably won't have time to go this year, but I'm making my way. I go try to like every 5 years or so.
Gotcha.
So we still got a few more years before my time's up.
You'll plan on bringing the stroller next year.
Yeah.
Which might be very stressful. Yeah, weaving through those crowds.
Ryan's gonna hate me for like 2 years.
I know. Until the kid can walk, I suppose.
Get a job already.
Away from Ryan.
Stupid kid.
Don't even show me your stroller. To our south, the Iowa State Fair has since closed up shop after their final day on Sunday, and they have had a few amazing events for families to enjoy. That included the Ladies Rubber Chicken Throwing Contest, where participants took turns seeing who could fling the fowl the farthest. The ladies' rubber chicken throwing champion wowed the crowd with a 57-foot toss.
We were just watching, of course, the Olympics with the incredible athletes who were tossing, the heavy ball that they toss?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yep.
And then there's this.
Oh my gosh.
Here's what the winner had to say.
I threw this chicken, which is approximately 7 pounds, 57 feet.
Wow.
I know. It went over people. It went over people. And it flew.
It went over people.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
She's enthusiastic.
And apparently, if you're wondering why they're throwing chickens, the Iowa State Fair said it used to be a rolling pin throwing contest. That's until one of the contestants back in the day, their rolling pin went through the air and hit a windshield of a cop car.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Well, they were really strong.
End of that.
They were throwing that thing.
Wow. I would imagine you'd want to, like, probably overhand, right? And grab it by the neck, I guess, and then use the momentum of the body to throw it over. And
I personally would grab it by the legs and kind of, whip it, because like I imagine the head part's got to be a little heavier.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's probably a science.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. YouTube some advice for that. Also at the Iowa Fair, an 8-year-old boy stole the show at one of the pie eating contests. Zach Lucas took the crown there. You can see him in the orange shirt there with a face full of chocolate pie, evidence of his win. This was his first competition, and after winning, you can tell he had a great time.
This is my first time winning first place on a chocolate pie with frosting eating contest. I never done this before in my whole entire life, and it's so fun. And I like getting dirty sometimes, and the chocolate tastes so good.
I have to show my future son this video and say, please aspire to be this boy, because that's the cutest boy I've ever seen in my life.
Get my guy a wet nap. Get him a napkin.
My gosh.
Yes,
Is there a better place, though, to find sound bites from people than at a state fair? You just get the best stuff out of people.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Just such an adorable interview with Zach there, who, of course, can't help but smile with his face full of frosting and chocolate, right?
I'm trying to imagine what there is out there that I would do that, like an eating contest. Wouldn't be pie. Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Doritos.
Down the
Doritos.
tacos.
Yeah.
The Dorito. Just have dust all over my face. Yeah. Wouldn't look too good.
Nope.
Well, hey, coming up after the break, we're going to take you to Taconite Harbor up the North Shore in Cook County, Minnesota. We'll be right back here on Northern Life. Welcome back, everybody. We are told there are a few ghost towns in the state of Minnesota, but how about a ghost harbor?
Yeah, in this week's Finding Minnesota, John Lauritsen looks at the rise and fall of Taconite Harbor in Cook County.
There's still a light pole, and this was Main Street right here.
This was Main Street, yeah.
If you've never heard of the town Taconite Harbor, it might be because it doesn't exist anymore.
This was all mowed lawns, and this was all where all the folks lived.
But from the mid-50s to the mid-80s, the community thrived. There were about 20 homes, along with a town hall, fire hall, and even a school with sports teams.
Where I'm standing is the middle of the old Taconite Harbor rec area. This spot would have been the center of town. Yeah. We could almost shoot hoops right now, couldn't we, Skip?
We could, yeah.
Skip Lamb was once a Little League coach in Taconite Harbor. Now he's a historian for a time that was. The town's history goes like this. A break wall was built around 2 nearby islands on Lake Superior to protect boats picking up iron ore.
Then they needed a town for the people to live in that were going to run it, and they had to build them houses because there wasn't any housing here. So they built the entire city.
Many residents worked at the loading dock, and during the boom, they shipped taconite pellets to the East Coast. 10 million tons of taconite a year came from the town. Then came the bust. In the early 80s, the industry hit an all-time low, forcing families to leave and find work elsewhere.
So this is part of the Iron Range saga, where towns get abandoned, moved out, homes get moved.
Indeed, after the residents left, a real estate developer bought many of the houses, moved them, and sold them off one by one. They were gone by the early 90s. A decade later, the dock was also abandoned.
We feel very committed to making sure that we continue telling the rest of the story about Taconite Harbor.
In the nearby town of Schroeder, Taconite Harbor lives on.
At one time, it was the fastest ore loading facility on the Great Lakes.
Steve Shug is president of the Cross River Heritage Center. This summer, they have an exhibit celebrating the abandoned harbor town.
We have Taconite Harbor reunions periodically here at the Heritage Center, and a lot of people come for that.
The exhibit looks at the highlights and lowlights of the community's history. For instance, at one point, taconite dust would turn a lot of things red. That included fresh laundry hanging from clotheslines.
I had a laundromat. I had to have 3 machines just to wash red clothes.
There was also a train derailment involving more than 90 cars loaded with taconite. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt. But for people who once lived and prospered here, the good memories far outweigh the bad.
It's important that people understand that it was a viable community and it was a town. It was a fun place to live, and it was a fun place for these kids to grow up.
In Cook County with photojournalist Mike Durenberger, John Lordson, WCCO News.
How cool is that? And also what's cool is you can still visit a portion of that abandoned Taconite Harbor up there in the North Shore. When you think of the North Shore, you don't think about something like that. You immediately think of like Split Rock and Gooseberry Falls, and of course like the Silver Bay Mine and things like that. But that'd be really cool to see and kind of get a tour of at some point in time up there. Maybe a Northern Life future shoot up there.
Hey, it could be cool to explore the ghost town.
Yeah,
we'll have to bring our resident Ghostbuster, Matt Rasmussen, our director who we've met on this show before.
King of Halloween.
Yeah.
I think it is awesome. You see how important shipping is to the Twin Ports nowadays, but especially back then, especially as someone who didn't grow up here to be a transplant in Duluth now and to kind of better understand through history how things were and how things are now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool. Hey, how about another positive story for our Monday? A Minnesota trucking instructor is offering free commercial driver's license training classes for people experiencing homelessness. So it's an effort to help them land a job and find a way off the streets. That instructor, Tom Gilliam, says for some of his previous students, getting a CDL changed their lives to give them a new path in life.
As long as you have a CDL in your pocket, you can always find a job. And that's career changing, that's life changing for a lot of people. Some of my previous students, when they got the CDL, they were so ecstatic that, oh my gosh, I got a CDL. And it changed their lives, literally.
Those interested must have a reference from a homeless shelter or counselor first, and the CDL training courses are offered in Rochester and Eagan, Minnesota, as well as Onalaska, Wisconsin. And this story, great by the way, also reminds me of the story where Hunter, he's got a couple minutes of his CDL training already. So have you continued on with your training efforts there, Hunter?
I've steered clear of that as of right now. I might have to go back in, because that would be a great backup gig right there, right? Now, I literally did back up.
So many good puns in that sentence. Steered clear of it and then back up. Yeah, good.
They're unintentional. I had no idea I was going to be doing that. But
pretty impressive.
Good. Thank you very much. But that was, that's addicting too, to drive with the
truck?
double clutch and backing up a huge trailer. You feel like you're in charge on the roads. I would definitely consider that as one of my top 10 careers.
Well, think of all the bougie truck stops there are out there these days.
Seriously.
With all the treats and the showers.
I'd get like a vending machine in my truck or something. They get like really fancy cabs in there.
I know some people got the video game consoles in the back of their trucks where they're sleeping.
I'd love to do that. That'd be really, really cool.
I don't know if there's room for a drum set.
I'll make room.
You can make some room in the back.
Look at the double decker.
Yeah. Well, hey, coming up, making beekeeping accessible for all. We're going to introduce you to a group in Minnesota bringing joy and a new experience to those with disabilities.
Welcome back, everybody. On the heels of a meteor shower earlier this month, August is offering another great astronomical sight. That's the rare combination of a supermoon and a blue moon. Today, the super blue moon, as it's known, is going to reach peak fullness this afternoon, so Americans will have to wait until tonight to see the moon slightly past its peak. According to NASA, a supermoon coinciding with the blue moon is exceptionally rare, with the next pairing happening in January and March, but 2037, not this coming year. So you're gonna have to remember that one for about 100 to the quick math, 13 years.
13 years, that's not that shabby, right?
Oh, 13, more than a decade.
Yeah, more than a decade. So it's happening 2 times that year, both in January and in March?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So it's happening. Okay, let me get this straight.
It's blowing your mind.
It's blowing my mind. So it's happening one time this year, and that's happening at some point tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's going to happen.
It's lasting for 3 days, I believe.
It's lasting for 3 days. So then we fast forward 13 years. It never happens. And then in the year 2037, it's going to happen in January and then again in March.
That's science.
Am I crazy?
Yeah,
I think you got the science down there, dude.
That's insane.
So when you're watching us in 2037, be sure to tune tune in at Northern News Now and send those moon pictures to Chief Meteorologist Adam Morris.
That's the way to do it right there.
He loves a good moon photo.
He does. He's a huge fan. Well, listen, beekeeping can be an enjoyable hobby. That is, if you have the time to do it. And there's one program in Minnesota that makes beekeeping accessible to one specific group of people and making history in the process.
Susan Elizabeth Littlefield brings us the story.
When Gwen Letourneau shows up for duty, she knows what to do.
You got it?
Yep, I got it. Thank you, Gwen.
There's no queen.
You don't see it?
No.
She's one of a knowledgeable group who keeps these bees in line.
We shake the powder, okay, to see if and then we feed the bees, because if we don't do that, the bees will get mad.
Is it scary?
A little bit. You just can't freak them out.
And around here, a little fear can be a good thing.
It's important to have activities that are considered dignity of risk activities for folks.
MSS is a day program for people with disabilities. The director says doing things that could be risky comes with great reward.
I've seen people's lives affected by this because they get a sense of ownership and a sense of purpose and a sense of just joy, like I can do this. This is something that I can do.
And they can. From the paths to the uniforms, MSS made beekeeping accessible.
Not only unique, this program is historic. It was the first of its kind in the entire country.
They now have a garden full of pollinators. And another benefit,
we get honey.
It's the sweetest of endeavors.
Oh, we did it.
Well, how awesome is that?
Making it accessible for everybody. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, you love to see it. Well, the program's next endeavor is to start a Harry Potter program, and they're now on the lookout for volunteers to come read to people too. So that's awesome. I remember my mom used to read the Harry Potter series to us when we were little, and that was such a special memory. So what a cool opportunity to volunteer your time and read an awesome book as well.
Yeah, good work they're doing. Well, quickly before we head to break, we're going to talk about some baby name inspiration. And it sounds like more Americans are turning to Disney for those names. So according to MediaDecision.com, the popular source has been animated Disney characters. Some of the most popular names, Merida from the movie Brave, Coda from Brother Bear, Moana, Finnick, Ariel, Flynn. We got all sorts of names. And Elsa from the movie Frozen. So Briggs, if you haven't chosen yet, look to Disney for some help.
A good place to start. We'll be right back. Before we go on this Monday, let's get to some comments from you guys at home. Cheryl commented on our Facebook post about Hunter's fight with his neighborhood bear recently. She says, here's what my garbage can looks like after the bears took care of it. Smashed. It's smashed. Sheesh.
Look, it's a pop can.
Yeah.
Those things are literal animals. I mean, my gosh.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong when I say that.
We had another viewer, I can't remember rather, if it was a message or a comment, but they were saying that bear was trash talking you, Hunter.
That's true.
Pretty funny.
Hey, if they take care of my trash and save me money, I'm all right with it.
I think you still pay for the service, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's
We
true.
had another viewer named Cheryl. How about that? Share that the trees are indeed talking about the next season coming up, sending us a photo saying Hunter is not the only one seeing fall leaf colors. This is in Kenosha Township near Pike Lake.
Oh my gosh, there's another tree up by your neck of the woods, Briggs, up in Woodland that is completely changed. It's all orange. It's insane.
I saw a couple trees on the golf course too. I think leaves are falling.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I hate to report that.
Not yet.
I do love to report this though before we go. Germany has a new little tiny baby hippo. You got to see these.
Oh my gosh.
A cute little kicker to send you on your way for this Monday, but
We don't really have to go, do we?
we
This hippo.
might as well just end with this, Seth.
So cute. Have a great day.
Find some time to throw a line, or just head outside to unwind. That's the life in the great North Woods. Hike or bike, whatever you like. Get out in the day, enjoy the night. Yeah, we got the life in the great North Woods. Yeah, we got the life in the great North Woods. Yeah, this is Northern